Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the Buffalo Boxing Studio Darwin Pro Boxing Gloves. So stay tuned. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here. Today I'm doing a review on the Buffalo Boxing Studio Darwin Pro Boxing Gloves. I got mine in this beautiful orange and black colorway with the crocodile style leather on the thumb as well as on the back of the wrist support. I got mine in 16-ounce lace up. You can also get these in Velcro. It is a completely custom bespoke glove. So in terms of sizing and colorway, it's completely up to you when you customize these gloves and order them. It's made of full, genuine Italian Swift calfskin leather on the exterior of the glove with a silky smooth suit liner type material on the inside of the hand compartment, and utilizes layered latex foam padding that I'd say is medium in firmness over the knuckles. And lastly, the gloves are handmade in China. Now, Buffalo Boxing Studio is a relatively newer company based out of China that was founded about 4 years ago. They reached out to me several months back about the products they carry, particularly the Darwin gloves, and it was very interesting just because of the quality of the materials that they're using in this particular glove, and also kind of the process and what they use to make it a much more luxurious kind of bespoke boxing glove. So that's what really caught my eye and my attention when discussing it with them. And them being relatively newer, obviously when it comes to the boxing glove market, there's a lot of brands out there that we already know of, and some of the newer ones that we're starting to get to know. So I do have some information in regards to their company, and particularly these gloves that I don't want to mess up. So I'm just going to read off of this email I got from them. Our gloves are uniquely crafted with each pair being custom made to order, ensuring that every set is one of a kind. The production process takes approximately 1 month to complete, which is about accurate. When I order these, it's like about one month for them to complete and then ship them out to me. Attached to the email, there was also a color chart, similar to like when I ordered my Tigral Japanese boxing gloves, where they basically have you pick the color that you want, and 3 to 4 colors you can choose from, and then where on the glove you want the colors. And for this glove, I wanted orange and black because I like that colorway. You will find a color chart for Swift calfskin, which is the leather that's made on this glove, which is the same premium leather used in Hermes, Birkin, and Kelly bags. So I'm not big into luxury goods, but I do know that Hermes, Birkin, Kelly, and other like those high-end luxury brands like Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Chanel, there's so many out there, use that really nice high-end leather, and this is the same exact leather they use in that, which is very interesting, especially for a boxing glove. You're starting to see obviously more luxury boxing gloves in the segment, but what's interesting is kind of the story with China behind that whole thing, with what's been happening recently with the tariffs, and China is really exposing that they're doing the vast majority of manufacturing of luxury goods, which we'll talk about here in a second. That's very interesting. Sourced from Italy, this leather is renowned for its fine texture, durability, and extensive color options. Our gloves feature wave-stitched leather, a technique commonly used in handmade leather goods, which not only enhances the aesthetic appeal but also increases durability. The padding consists of multiple layers of latex, and the ventilation holes are handcrafted with brogue detailing. So what's kind of cool about the holes on here, the ventilation, is that they have like 4 additional smaller holes around it. I don't know if you can pick it up in the video, but it has a very luxurious and just a very detailed look, which I like. Offering superior breathability and a more refined look. The inner lining is made from custom suit lining. So if you guys have ever worn a suit and you put on the jacket, that liner on the inside of the suit, essentially that's how it feels. Ensuring a smooth and comfortable fit that we are confident you will appreciate. It has a much more kind of cool, silky, smooth feel when you put your hand into the glove. Additionally, we offer complimentary services such as heat stamping your name on the wrist area and customizing the back of the gloves with any logo, text, or design of your choice. So for my gloves, I just put C squared in gold right there. The weight's on the other side, and then it says Darwin 16 ounce on the back of the wrist support. And then you can choose between 10 to 16 ounces. Pricing wise, I usually go over the price at the end of the video, but for the sake of this, I'll just talk about it right now. Swift Caskins priced at $250, while a combination of shark, crocodile, or ostrich leather are priced at $600 per pair. Shipping and taxes are extra on top of that, which is no surprise. But however, this offer is the pricing and the shipping is completely up to the purchaser of it. So depending on where you live, obviously these gloves are coming from China, so you're on the other side of the world, then it's probably going to cost you a little bit more to have it shipped out. So that's kind of the details on the glove. In my opinion, that's what they're trying to go for. They're trying to go for that bespoke custom type of glove. There's other companies out there now that are doing, obviously we know about DiNardo and the Italian made gloves. You know, there's other brands that are coming out now that are kind of going with a luxury, you know, type of gloves. I know 1v1 for here in the States, obviously Barrick, Walls, that we have doing their gloves as well. John Gollum has more of a luxury, very refined glove. And there's many companies, you know, the boutiques that are doing it now that have a much more refined luxury glove. And that's essentially what I think they're trying to do with this glove. Now, with that being said, design-wise and style-wise, for a 16-ounce glove, I'd say that these are medium in size. They're not ultra compact, nor are they super large. The leather on here has more of a satin to matte finish on it. It is very refined feeling and has a small grainy texture to it, which feels very nice. I've never held a Hermes bag before, but I've seen some other bags in person from other luxury goods. If you go to like one of those high-end malls, like here in Arizona in the Phoenix, if you go to like Scottsdale Fashion Square, which is like the higher end mall, they have those luxury luxury stores. And if you ever go window shopping in there, and you'll see the type of leather they use, it's very similar to that. Fly also uses a very nice high-end leather, which I like on their gloves as well. So this definitely has a very high-end feel when it comes to the leather. You do have that kind of that crocodile style leather on the thumb with a split thumb on the orange on top. You also have an orange attached thumb. On the palm side, we'll start there. You do have that ventilated holes that look unique with the extra design. You do have a nice large firm grip bar. It feels very good. You also have ventilated holes on the inner portion of the thumb. Orange thumb piping at the base. Orange piping on the palm. You also have about, I'd say, 3/4 of an inch of medium density foam padding on both sides of the wrist to give you stability through the wrist section. It does say C squared in gold, as well as 16 ounces on the other side right there. So you guys can see it for yourself. You also do have nicely poked through eyelets. And the laces on here are very long with flat plastic tips. They're flat laces, but they're waxy. So they have more of a waxy feel, which is nice because it prevents the laces from fraying. But they do move pretty smoothly throughout the eyelets. Double stitching throughout, no surprise there. That's pretty much the standard for boxing gloves. The back of the wrist support, you're looking at about an inch of firm density foam padding. Inside liner, again, is that silky suit liner that they utilize. And you also have a flat cuff on the back of the wrist with that crocodile style leather, reptile leather if you want to call it, Darwin, 16 ounce in gold. So it does have a very like luxury, refined look. You don't have any crazy logos on the glove. You don't have anything that looks very splashy in that regards. So I do like the fact that they're kind of going with a more refined and luxurious look with this glove. And you can see it in all the little details. Quality wise, the leather is top notch. And so is the stitching. You know, going through these gloves, I was looking for any imperfections after using this glove for about a month and a half. And really there's, nothing on here about the glove that I can really point out that's a huge issue or a quality control issue. You know, that crocodile leather looks really awesome. The leather is very high quality. The stitching looks good throughout. Very refined looking. If we were to nitpick, I would say the issue I would find would be the weight. When I put the gloves on the scale, they're advertised as a 16-ounce glove. They're both 15.5 ounces, so they're a half ounce underweight. It would have been nice for them to be exactly on point with weight, especially if you're paying, $250 on up to $600 for a pair of gloves. I would expect that for that, expensive of a glove. But both are 15.5 ounces, so both gloves are exactly the same weight as each other. But you can see the stitching looks great. On the palm side, the finger compartment looks really good. Inside liner, there's no exposed foam or inside liner. All the components of the gloves done very well on both gloves. And again, there's nothing glaring. Even like you'll find gloves that the stitching is crooked, where you can tell that when they were putting it on the machine that maybe he started falling asleep or something happened. Maybe he started talking to one of his coworkers in the shop and started going through it and then kind of went off track. And yeah, with this glove, you don't have any issues with that. Everything is nice, straight, and symmetrical with the glove. Looks really good. And putting them next to each other, you can also see the stitching is where it needs to be in terms of where they measure up on both sides. When it comes to symmetry, that's another big thing, right? It's going to be the height and the width of the glove exactly the same on both sides. So that was on the back of the glove. Here is the inside of the glove. Again, width and height is perfect. Thumb positioning is perfect as well. So putting them next to each other, you can see the height of the wrist support lines up perfectly. And the positioning of the thumb, I'd say you're at about 1.5 to 2 inches of foam thickness. And rotating it around, you can see it on this side as well. So pre-curved thumb, or pre-curved hand compartment, excuse me, not thumb, but hand compartment looks pretty much symmetrical with each other as well. So in terms of symmetry and shape, everything adds up. Comfort-wise, sliding your hand into the glove, the first thing you'll notice is the liner is very comfortable, very smooth, very silky. The depth of the finger compartment is perfect. Nice deep finger compartment. Not too wide, not too narrow, so you have a good amount of room, but you don't feel like your hands are, swimming around in the inside of the hand compartment. Not too narrow either, to where you feel like your fingers, particularly like my pinky. For me, it's usually my pinky that rubs against my ring finger when it comes to gloves that are too tight. And with these gloves, you don't get that sensation. I'd say that the gloves are semi-broken in. They're not extremely soft when you first get them, nor are they extremely stiff. I'd say they're right in the middle, but there is definitely a break-in period to kind of soften up the foam padding, to kind of loosen them up. So you can't open your hand all the way right away. I mean, there is some ease to it, but there is some resistance. They're not like a horsehair glove where you can just open and close your palm with no problem, with no resistance. Grip bar feels really good. And the inside of the finger compartment, I wish they would have put maybe like a little bit of like a neoprene padding or felt. You can kind of feel the stitching where the liner is at. It's not uncomfortable, but it is something that I definitely noticed, especially for a glove of this like luxury level that they're trying to go for. Thumb feels really good. Positioning is perfect, nice and deep, and I also feel that it's nice and parallel. The base of the thumb, the piping, is large enough to accommodate the fat part of my thumb. I'd say there's about 1 inch of foam padding. The only thing I don't like on the inside from a comfort standpoint is that the padding they use throughout the entire thumb is the same dense style padding. It feels kind of like an EVA or some type of foam, and it rests up against my thumb. I wish that there was an inner foam that was a little bit softer, so it feels a little bit more kind of conforming to the shape of my thumb on the inside portion of the thumb compartment. Something a little bit softer, so it's a little bit more comfortable in terms of just the pressing feeling against my thumb. But outside of that, everything else about the glove feels really comfortable. Good wrist support. Not a super long cuff, so you don't have to worry about. But those of you that hate long cuffs, you don't have any issues with that. Feels really good in terms of cuff length. But overall, really comfortable. A couple small little areas I think they can improve on, but outside of that, really nice when it comes to comfort. Protection and performance-wise, these are a balanced glove. To me, the padding on here does a really good job of absorbing shock, but allowing your knuckles to kind of push through just a little bit, just enough. It is latex foam padding of a medium to kind of a firm density. So to me, this is the type of padding you can use really for everything in the gym. If you want to use it for sparring, hitting the heavy bag, doing mitt work, you can do it with this glove. I'd say it's right there in the middle. If we had a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being extremely like a puncher's glove where you can just punch right through, and a 1 being rock solid and everything absorbs right through, or you can absorb everything with that glove. I'd say that these are like right there in the middle at 5 in terms of the protection level. A good amount of pop and a decent amount of feedback. So in my opinion, a really well balanced glove. Wrist support feels good as well. Even with hand wraps on, I don't feel like my hand is being choked out. Cost-wise, like I mentioned earlier, the gloves start at $250 on up, just depending on what materials, colorways you get. It takes about a month to receive these gloves. I definitely think it's a really nice glove at that price point. Luxury, you're using the same leather that they use in luxury handbags out there that are thousands and thousands of dollars. So in terms of comparing it to other luxury brands, you know, I think they're awesome gloves, great construction. They look really nice. They offer a lot of different customization. I think probably the only thing they don't have going for them is they don't have that big name yet, right? You know, and a lot of people will say, well, I've never heard of them before. Why would I spend $250? Which is a really good, valid point, right? And I get it. You know, if the brand hasn't established itself, it's going to take some time for people to get their hands on them, or more pros or people with, you know, more clout out there to get the gloves and to give them their seal of approval. But for me, honestly, I feel like the gloves they've done a really good job. I think they've done a really good job, especially at the price point that they're at. One thing I almost forgot to touch on was the whole thing with them being a luxury, kind of like a luxury brand, is that, you know, recently they just started coming out with the whole tariffs thing. And when I first got these gloves, that wasn't even a discussion yet a month ago when I received these. And just as of recently, like within the last week or so, because of the whole tariff trade war thing that's going on between China and the United States, you're actually seeing China basically show who's they're manufacturing for. All these brands, luxury brands, Lululemon, Nike, all these brands that we know that we're basically overpaying for when it comes to their products. You know, $100 for a pair of shorts or a pair of joggers or whatnot. These Chinese manufacturers are basically putting them on blast and saying, hey, we're actually making these here in China for like $5. And it's the same thing with their luxury brands like Hermes and Louis Vuitton. It turns out that, and this is something that a lot of people have known for a long time now, but this just revalidates that a lot of the luxury goods that you see that are made, that are claimed to be from Italy or Paris and France, all of these like really, you know, frou-frou high-end luxury places, are really made in China, and they're made like 80 to 90% completed, and then they ship them to Italy or France or wherever, and then that's when they like stamp the logo on it and kind of do the finishing touches. But for the most part, that product was actually made in China. So it's been kind of insider knowledge for the longest time. Obviously, there's a lot of components that go to that, but it kind of reminded me of these gloves in that way, where if you were to take this logo off of this and you put like Louis Vuitton on this glove or something like that, these gloves would be, you know, $5,000, right? So, you know, it really comes up to really the marketing part about it and the name that you're really paying for. And with this glove, I feel like you're getting that Louis quality product without the big name, and you're not having to pay that ridiculous price tag. Now, granted, I'm not saying $600 is affordable or cheap. It is not. Just like Winnings and other brands out there that are, you know, $300 on up is still an expensive piece of equipment. But compared to others out there, the quality, everything that you're getting, I definitely think it's a really solid package. So if you guys have any questions or comments, you guys know what to do. Put them down below. I'll put the link in the description box to their social media. They have their Instagram as well as their email, so you can contact them if you're interested in taking a look at your own pair. And I will see you guys later. Peace.